Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So today I'm going to bring you a box. I made a box for a blog hop, and because that was the theme. And so this was my prototype when trying to sort of work it out. So this is all retired DSP and cardstock. I like to keep it to practice. It's an impossible box. That is what we're making. Now, I didn't make it up. Lots and lots of videos on making impossible boxes, but I did resize this for this project. The one that I saw several different versions of this, and they're all, most of them are a little bit smaller, and I did see some that actually did bigger, but that involved multiple pieces of cardstock, and I didn't want that. So this can be made out of a sheet of A4, and then you just need one sheet of 6x6 DSP to cover it, which I quite like that. So I am using Boho Indigo for this. I love this paper, and I'm using Night of Navy and Very Vanilla for the base. Now this measures 8 1/4 by 10, but if you're in the US, I'd leave it at 8 1/2. Don't trim it down to 8 1/4, and you'll get a better, you'll get a bigger flap for sticking down. But other than that, just follow everything else exactly the same. So this is 8 1/4 by 10, but it could equally be 8 1/2 by 10. It doesn't make any difference with the scoring. So we are going to score on the long side at 2 and 7 and 8 and 9. And then we're going to score on the short side at 2, at 4, at 6 and at 8. So if you are in the US, you'll have a bigger flap here. You'll have a 1/2 inch flap, whereas us in the UK, Europe, Australia, I believe, New Zealand, possibly, you'll have, we only got 1/4 inch, but it's enough. It is enough. Now this box is 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and it's 5 inches tall. And then obviously when you extend it, the contents, yes, it's still 5 inches tall. So when you extend it, it then grows, but actually what you're putting in is limited to 5 inches. It will hold quite a lot. It's quite a nice big box. So it's quite a nice little fit. So it opens up there, so you get quite a lot in there. Nice lot of goodies. I didn't sort of think about anything particular that it would hold, but I imagine it would hold a bottle of perfume, hand cream, whatever, jewellery, whatever. So what you need to do for this is, if we fold just down lightly there on the second score there, and we're going to oh, it's the other way, we're going to do a little pencil mark, just a very light pencil mark that we will rub out afterwards, and we basically want to mark the center points of these rectangles. So a little mark there at 1, at 3, at 5, and at 7. Okay, and that's it. That's our scoring and our marking. So now we can just fold and burnish. So I'm just gonna go the normal way, and then we will adjust. Okay. because in order to get that mechanism at the top, we have a few valleys and folds going on. So all the measurements will be on my blog, and I did take photographs as I was making this one so that you can sort of see how everything's going. So what is going to happen is that one is actually going to fold this way. So we're going to fold that back that way. And yes, that one's going in that way as well. So we've got a sort of, well, we look at it that way, sort of an S going on ish. Okay, so now we want to do some cutting. So what you do is we fold that over. So you've folded that over so we can see where we've done our little marks there. And then we're going to take our scissors. I'm going to take my big scissors because it is just easier. And we are going to cut diagonally from that midpoint to there. Okay, so we're just cutting off like that. Okay, that's what we're doing. And then we're going to cut down this score line to that first score line. And then when we do the same cut as we did there from that point to the edge there, that's going to cut that triangle out. Like so. Okay, and then we do the same. So we're going to cut down that score line, and then we're going to cut to that corner point there. Okay, and then we'll do it again for this last one, like that. And then for this little rectangle at the bottom here, we're just going to cut that off, and then we'll just notch slightly up there when we get rid of it. So we've done that bit of cutting. Okay, so if you want to screenshot, you can bin those, and then when you open it out, it looks like that. And that's what helps us make that mechanism that goes down. Okay, and it closes over the top. Okay, so that's how that happens. And then we want to cut this rectangle off at the bottom as well. I always find it easier to come up that way, and then we'll just notch that there as well. So that's all our cutting, and that's what it should look like. I have got pictures of this on my blog. Okay, so now we just need to work out where the back's going to be. So that's going to stick in there. So we'll make this our front. So that one there we want to keep straight. It could be that one. It doesn't really matter. It depends whether or not you have the flap, that bit as the back or that bit as the back. Actually, I want that bit as the back, so I want that to be the front. Yeah. Okay. I think that's what I just said. So this we want to keep straight. So we're going just on the inside of the score line. I kind of rest my blade on it and go straight. And then there we'll go straight. And that is going to get kept straight. And then these other squares we'll just notch a little bit just to make the folding in neater and easier. So we'll cut up there and we'll notch. notch, notch, notch. There we go. And that is all the cutting. So there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick the mats on now whilst it's flat, because it is so much easier to do. I'm double matting. You could single mat, but I want to double mat. I just think it makes it a little bit, gives it a bit more of a pop. But you could just put the DSP straight on, but I like to mat. So they're going along there. You're leaving a space because the lid comes down over it, so you don't want to mat this whole side, which was a mistake I made when I did my first prototype, which was completely different size, and I didn't like it at all, and I matted all the way to the top, so then it didn't come down very well. And I stuck these on the wrong side, so I stuck them there, which is wrong. You stick them on that side because that's going to get folded down. So they go on here. So the measurements for these, which will be on my blog, are the cardstock mats are 1 7/8 wide. So we've just gone a little eighth, because these are all 2 inches wide. So we've just gone an eighth smaller. So they're 1 7/8 by 3 7/8. Okay, and then the DSP is 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. On these little ones, they're 1 7/8 by 7/8, and these are 1 3/4 by 3/4. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick the DSP. I'm going to make sure they're going in there because they're slightly directional, those flowers. So I was careful with cutting. If you're using a directional pattern, you can't get them out of one sheet, so I had to cut into a second sheet for this. But if you're using a non-directional pattern, which I used on this one, then I got them all out of 6 by 6. Oh, don't know what I've done there. I left the lid off. That's what I did. So that doesn't want to come out. So get my Tombow and just glue them down. So we've got a little bit of wigglage and a nice tiny little margin, just enough to make that pop. And then stick that on here. And then the same on the top. I say the first time I did it, I did stick this on the wrong side. These are directional, make sure that goes in the right direction. So I had to think about that when I was cutting my pieces, is to make sure that they were, that one's upside down. Yeah, so when I was cutting, I was making sure that they were going the right way. You could cut this from a piece so it followed. I've done that before when I've made things. I didn't do it when I cut this because I actually had just one sheet intact and some scraps. So I had to do it that way. If I had 2 full intact sheets of this pattern, I would have done that. I'd have made sure that these sort of followed. Right, I'm going to do the rest of those, but quicker. There we are. So that's them all stuck down. So now we can start building our box. So we need to glue these sides down. But what you do is you just put glue on this one. You leave that one open because we're going to glue that down afterwards. Bit like sometimes when I build the top round the base, we're building this lid around this as well, so we're going to leave it, we'll leave it open. So I'm going to put some glue down there. Could use tear and tape, you could use Stamp and Seal Plus, or indeed Tombow like I am, or whatever your favourite strong glue is, but it's a box so it needs to be strong glue. These could be have been stuck on by not so strong glue, but not the actual putting your box together bit. So just gonna make sure, and because we've got 2 layers there, it's quite a sturdy box. So that is the back, that's the front. So we're going to stick these in. I like to put a bit of Tombow certainly on the edge when I'm sticking these down. So I like to make sure the edges are well stuck. Don't like any gapes. So put glue around the edge. Lots and lots of glue. This box is not opening. It's also slightly crooked. This box is not opening, she says. Opening it. It won't quite straight. There we go. So those edges are nicely cut down. And then I'm going to get my bone folder and just go down the bottom a bit. And then we're going to close our box. So just push it down and just check that I can't see the pencil lines. And I can't appear to have put those in a place where they're now not visible. So that is going to have glue on it and then tuck under there to be fastened. So you can see if you've got American letter size paper, you will have a little bit more there to play with than we have in the UK. It would be possible, and I thought about it, if I'd have made each side 1 7/8, we'd have then had 1/2 inch to play with on this corner. But then that just makes all the maths for doing the mats and everything just all a little bit complicated, and I just didn't want to do that. And I didn't want to make it any smaller. There we go. So that is that stuck down. So that is the box all ready to decorate for whatever occasion you want it to be given to. I'm going to do a happy birthday one today. So I've got happy birthday there from Peaceful Moments, and I'm going to, I've got a scrap of very vanilla, and Night of Navy ink. So I'm just going to stamp me happy birthday. There we go. And I am going to use tailored tag punch to punch it out, and it does fit really nicely in the middle. Of the tailored tag punch. Got it upside down, just checking it's straight. There we go. So that's my happy birthday to, where's my front? There, because that's the back. So that's going to go on there, but I want to decorate it. That's not what I want. So I want to add some butterflies. We've got some nice florals. I'm going to add some butterflies. I'm going to use Butterfly Gala. I've chosen that one, I think. So I'm going to stamp my butterflies. And I want one of each, and I want just a single one. So I'm going to just bring in a scrap, and I'm going to do it on that little bit there. Waste not, want not. Do my little single one. And to give it a little bit of sparkle, I'm going to use my Winker Stella, and I'm just going to paint slightly on it. It drags the paint a little bit, so you get a little bit of slightly watercolour, a glittery watercolour effect going on. I'm going to do the ends. And I might just do a little bit around the edge of the wings, just to add a little bit of interest. Same with the little one. So I think painting with Winker Stella is just gorgeous. We did this on a virtual team event, and we were all a bit like, oh wow, never thought of doing that. So let's do this little one as well. So there's that. And then we're just going to punch them out. Don't know if you can see down there, but you can see there's just a little subtle bit of light blue going on these butterflies. And then we can just punch them out. Punch the little one out, and then I stamp the body in. Always stamp the body in second after I've, because then you know exactly where the body is. I think when I first got this set, I stamped the body first, and yeah, you want it in the right place. So when you stamped it, like the body was like well off. Right, get that in the middle. It's hard to see which is the right way up. Don't think it matters. matters that much. So there we go. And then I need the bigger one, which I haven't got out. I'm going to get another small A block because I'm not going to clean them till after. There we go. So that is slightly off there. It's okay. And then I'm just going to shape them a little bit before I put them on. So take my bone folder and what I did was I did them like that. So totally, oh, love Tranquil Tide. I got some not so long ago on clearance. It's like, yes, I've still got some more for playing with. I like to make my prototypes in retired. Sometimes I make prototypes in non-retired stuff, but I like to do it in actual Stampin' Up cardstock, so I know it works. Different cardstock, different weights, work differently. So that's my idea. They stick them around like that. And what I did here, I don't know if you can see, there's like green around it, was I dipped it in the ink pad, which I'm going to do. I might add some bling as well. Why not? So I just dip the edges in the ink pad. So just got a subtle bit of colour on the edges, literally just dipping them, not moving it, just dipping them. So you've got a really, really small hint of colour there. So I need to make sure that that is thoroughly dry before I touch it. So we've got that. I'm going to get dimensionals, so I'm going to pop them up on dimensionals. So that, I think, will be dry now. Yep, seems okay. So one at the top, and I'm just going to do two in the middle. Double check I'm on the right side, and I put it sort of not in the middle of the box, in the middle of where the actual label's on. Stick that down so there's room for that up there, that on there, and that on there. And I kind of picked that so there was like a flower there. So we'll just use a little bit of Tombow to stick these down. And I think I'm going to get some rhinestones to finish this off. Got some rhinestones. think we'll have one on that one. I'm going to stick it to my finger, trying to make the putty stick right. So we'll have one on there. One on there. Just changed the putty so it's actually really sticky. And then we'll have better one on his head. So that is my rhinestones. Pop that up a little bit. There we go. And that's my finished box. So that was my prototype in retired stuff, and there we have it in lovely Boho Indigo, which I love. Okay, so all the details will be on nigezza.co.uk, all the measurements, and we'll see, it's not quite a template, but you'll see the cutting pattern of the paper, and I'll link to the original blog hop as well, so you can see what the rest of the poodlers have made in the maker box theme. So there will be also links down below to the shop if you wish to purchase any of these items, and there'll also be links over on my shop as well, on my blog as well. Okay, thanks for joining me. Stay safe. Bye bye.